Welcome to the podcast, Pilgrim and the Monk. A developing story of a pilgrim who is seeking the truth, and a monk who helps him find the way. Written by Timothy G.A. Cooper. Narrated and produced by Greg Cooper. Chapter 50. Module 3 Autonailer. Pilgrim, many years ago, I worked in a factory. We made weather stripping for cars.
That's interesting, Monk. I guess I always pictured you as a monk.
I was young, angry, and alone. I needed some way to support myself, and our Lord had yet to call me. I was given a job near the end of the process, as an inspector. It was the kind of job that required personal initiative. It was highly sought after.
You're saying it was an easy job for a lazy person to hide in?
Precisely. One shift, I started seeing improperly trimmed parts come off the line. Before long, all of them failed inspection. There were hundreds of parts, perhaps a day's worth of manufacturing. I immediately called for my supervisor. He told me to keep pulling the defective parts and took one back to the front office.
You must have felt better knowing your supervisor had your back.
At the moment I did. Almost an hour later, my supervisor returned with another supervisor. They told me to pass all the parts. My own supervisor said, "Good job, but don't do it again."
Was that a stab in the back, a kick to the stomach, or both?
What felt even worse was the fact that they pulled me off that job the very next day and gave it to the laziest guy in the factory.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Then they moved me to the worst machine in the factory. It never worked properly, and pretty much no one wanted to work with it. It was called the Module 3 Autonailer.
All because you did your job? No way.
It took 3 guys to work the machine. One guy fed parts into it, the other 2 received them. They filled in spots that the Autonailer missed, and it missed a lot.
That must have been frustrating.
It was at first. I noticed that my coworkers did not share my frustration. In fact, they were pretty upbeat.
Why? What was wrong with them?
They knew something I did not.
What's that?
Doing a job no one else wants brings job security. You do not have to be constantly on guard against people stealing your job.
I can see the value of that.
Also, if you willingly accept that type of job without complaint, you are usually left alone. You become one less headache for your supervisor. In fact, they may treat you better for it.
That makes a lot of sense. Did it help you?
It certainly did. My whole attitude changed. The lesson still helps. I am no longer afraid of unpopular tasks. I often now seek them out.
That's great, Monk, but I can't help wonder why you're telling me this.
I was thinking, how often have I made my life needlessly more difficult? By changing my perspective, I improve my circumstances.
Sometimes the biggest problems aren't around us. They're between our ears.
It is a lesson I must constantly relearn.
That seems to be the way with the most important lessons in life.
Thank you for listening, Pilgrim. I needed to get that off my mind.
Anytime, Monk. Anytime.
You've been listening to Pilgrim and the Monk, written by Timothy G.A. Cooper. Narrated and produced by Greg Cooper. We hope you enjoyed this production. Please join us again for the next episode.